Anuradha Nakshatra. This is the nakshatra that is signified, that is denoted by the lotus. And so therefore it has a lot of significance in terms of Vedic astrology, but not just Vedic astrology. As I have been saying throughout this entire series, nakshatras are not just about astrology. They are about understanding Vedic texts, Vedic literature, Vedic culture. Because in those times, when all of this, science was being observed and written down, the societies used to act as much in consistency with the energies in the sky as possible. So every nakshatra has a Rigvedic deity that you can trace back to the Rig Veda, who has a certain number of chants and shlokas associated with him that can appease him. There is an energy of whenever moon is in that particular nakshatra to focus on a few set of things and to ignore other things. Anuradha is that nakshatra, which is the nakshatra of friendship. The lotus flower, if you study, Hinduism, you will see often, and not just Hinduism, in fact, even in Buddhism, the lotus has a lot of significance, because the lotus, number one, by virtue of it being found in nature, it's a beautiful plant, the water lily, that blooms in muddy waters. Number one. Number two, there's a lot of resilience that is attached to the water lily or the lotus, because its stem, not only quite nutritious, the way that it blooms in muddy waters is it floats on top of them, and it has a stem which goes deep down, and connects it to the bed of whatever water body it is floating in. So there's a lot of grounding attached with this flower as well. If you look at the image of God Vishnu, if you look at Brahma, if you look at Lakshmi, if you look at Saraswati, if you look at, in terms of Buddhism as well, one of the most important sutras, the Lotus Sutra, Om Mani Padme Hum, pronounced Om Mani Padme Hum. If you look at the significations of what lotus stands for, it stands for enlightenment. An open lotus is associated with the opening of the crown chakra, and opening of the crown chakra, the realization of ultimate consciousness, is what? It's the realization that we're all one. It's the realization that, love is the only way. And so Anuradha is a nakshatra that comes right after Vishakha. I've made a great video on Vishakha, go check that out if you haven't already. And I've described over there how Vishakha and Anuradha are actually a couplet in terms of nakshatras. Not in the same way that you have Uttarashada and Purvashada, or Purva Falguni and Uttar Falguni, but in the way that Vishakha is the energy of winning at all costs, lack of diplomacy, lack of compromising even a bit, even a percent on what is the truth. Anuradha is the balance that comes after a victory. So let's say we've conquered a place, we won, whatever war has to happen has happened. What are the pacts that we're going to sign to ensure that it doesn't happen again? How are we going to resume trade? How are we going to start working again? How are we going to start trusting each other again? How are we going to communicate? That is Anuradha. Anuradha has within its power a lot of diplomacy, a lot of tact. There's a lot of struggle also that is associated with this nakshatra. If you have prominent placements in Anuradha, or if you have your moon in Anuradha, it's quite possible that you've encountered a lot of struggle in life. And somehow through all of that struggle, you have managed to preserve your optimism. You have managed to preserve your beauty. You have managed to preserve your humanity and this warm outlook towards life. And it probably amazes people around you. But in a way that Rohini, which is opposite to Anuradha, in a way that Rohini, through its brilliance, inspires a lot of jealousy. Anuradha is the opposite. Anuradha is a nakshatra where people are inspired by how beautiful your life struggles have made you. People are inspired by how calm you are able to be under pressure, how you are able to turn enemies into friends, how you're able to negotiate impossible deals and MOUs, understandings between the two seemingly irreconcilable parties and reach a consensus. Okay, So in that way, I would say that Anuradha is a great nakshatra, and if you have this nakshatra prominent in your chart and you are struggling with life, it is because you have not yet woken up to the fact that the people around you are the people that you need to learn to work with. Even though they may hate you, even though you may hate them, even though you may have done court cases against each other in the past, Anuradha, that lotus blooming in mud, teaches you that to grow in life, you have to understand that charity begins at home. You have to understand that balance begins at home. Love thy neighbor. Why do you say love thy neighbor? I was actually, watching Sadhguru's videos on this topic, a particular video, and he said that if Jesus had said, go and love somebody you're 10,000 miles away from you, that would have been easy. Because you don't know that person, you don't have to tolerate that person on a daily basis. Love thy neighbor means whichever way this person is, who is around you, who is next to you, who you have to face every day, who you have to tolerate every day, learn to love them the way they are and work with these people, work with where you've been planted and grow. That is what Anuradha Nakshatra is about. The Rigvedic deity associated with this nakshatra is Mitra. And Mitra is actually one of the Adityas. I hope I'm not mistaken. Mitra is one of the Adityas. Yeah, he is one of the 12 Adityas. And so Mitra signifies balance and friendship. Now, depending on what planet you have in Anuradha, you will get that sort of results in life, and that is how you have to learn to interpret this nakshatra. Let's say you have Rahu in Anuradha. Rahu in Anuradha, from the get-go, your life is going to be about learning how to maintain a balance, create a balance, learning about devotion. Especially in Rahu Mahadasha, you're going to feel it a lot. It's quite often possible that if you had Rahu in Anuradha, then growing up, they may have been a lot of imbalance in your domestic life, a lot of imbalance in respect to your relationship with your father. Maybe he was not there, or maybe there was some conflict, or maybe there was some conflict that was running in your family for a long time, and then you are here to close out that pattern. Okay, so Rahu in Anuradha can give that sort of an energy where you will see a lot of imbalance around you, that you will be called upon. It is your purpose in this lifetime to bring about balance, to bring about peace. Let's say you have Saturn in Anuradha. Now, Saturn rules the nakshatra of Anuradha. And in fact, if you look at it, Saturn rules all the great nakshatras. Saturn rules Pushya, Saturn rules Uttarabhadrapada, Saturn rules Anuradha. These three nakshatras, if you look at it, they are a lot about foundational balance, stability. If you have Saturn in Anuradha, it will show that in your life, it's quite possible that your relationships, your partnerships are going to test your commitment to quite an extent. You will probably, it's quite possible if you have Saturn in Anuradha, you marry someone out of love, and after marrying them, you find out that, let's say they have $1 million in debt. You're like, damn. And you don't bail on them because of it. You understand that there's a problem, there's a responsibility. You work with them and you build a success story of working together and helping this person overcome some debilitating condition in their life. That is the kind of energy, because Saturn is responsibility. He's going to test you. Any nakshatra that Saturn is in, he's going to test that nakshatra to ensure that those lessons are being drilled into your brain. That's what Saturn's job is. If Saturn's in Anuradha, your devotion will be tested in life quite a bit. Okay? If let's say you have Mars in Anuradha. Mars in Anuradha is also a great placement because, Mars is the energy of resolve. It is the energy of focus. It is the energy of drive. It is also the energy of aggression. But in Anuradha, this energy is quite balanced out. This person can be an aggressive negotiator. This person can be a great administrator who's able to make different factions, who's able to make different camps work towards a common goal. This can be a great leader. Okay? And in the end, obviously, if you have Moon in Anuradha Nakshatra, then that definitely means your life is a story, is a saga, is an epic, about learning how to shine through difficult circumstances. It's quite often possible that you are not the person who is in these trials, it's the people around you. And you are that individual who everybody is relying on to help them weather the storm, to help them overcome their difficulties and problems and shine in life and bloom in life. Okay? So that was my quick analysis of Anuradha Nakshatra. Do bear in mind that I'm shooting these videos on the day of the Nakshatras, so that is something I'm very particular about. I just want to tap into the energy of every Nakshatra as I'm talking about them, channel as much as I can. So every Nakshatra video is going to be very different, but this is the first series. I'm going to go into more detail across successive series, diving deeper and deeper into the energy of the Nakshatras. Okay? If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel so that you can stay abreast of all the wonderful content that I post here, and push the bell icon so that you can be notified every single time I post. If you want a personal session with me, you can do so by checking out the link given in the description box. It's going to take you to my website, or we can take it further from there. Thank you so much. Adios.